Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting decimals. We're going to look at the problem. A carpenter has a board that is 6 and 25 meters long and one that is 3 and 57 meters long. He nailed them end to end to make one long board. How long was his new board? So first thing I'm going to do is think about what is going on in the story problem. So I see that he has one board that is 6 and 25 meters long. He has another one that is 3 and 57/100 meters long. He nailed them together to make one long board. And then I want to find out how long was his new board. So the question that I'm trying to answer is how long was his new board. So I'm going to first represent my problem. My representation can be in many different forms. I can use a strip diagram. So if I was going to do a strip diagram, if I have two boards and I put them together and I want to find out how long the new board is, I know that I would have to add that together to find the total of the new board. So I'm going to create a strip diagram. So I have the 6 and 25 meters for the first board. I have the 3 and 57/100 meters for the second board. And then my question is to find out how long is my new board. So I'm just going to use the letter B for board for the new board, because now I have one long piece. I can also write it as an equation. Which was my first board plus my second board, which would equal B for my new board. So I'm trying to solve for the letter B. I just input the letter B as a variable to stand for the new board, which is actually going to be a number that I'm trying to find out. I can also draw a pictorial model. So a pictorial model could look differently depending on how you want to draw it. One thing I just could visually just think about the visual representation when I read this problem is that I see one board and then I see another board which is added on, and if I nail them end to end, I know they're touching one another, which is pretty much just like my strip diagram. So I have the 6 and 25 meters, and then I have the 3 and 57 meters, and I just want to know altogether what that equals. So that's just like a visual representation of what I read from the problem. And then I also could use my place value understanding of my base 10 blocks, and if I wanted to use that to add them together, then I would think about the 6.25 as place value blocks, and I know that my cube represents my ones place, so I need 6 of those. And you choose what works best for you. What are you familiar with? I'm going to go ahead and add the decimal here. My tenths place are my flats. Oh, I need 2 of those. And then my hundredths place is my rods, and I need 5 of those. So here's 3 different representations using multiple ones, or just the one that you feel comfortable with to use while you're solving your problems. So for 3 and 57/100ths, I know I need 3 cubes. Go ahead and put my decimal. I need 5 flats to represent my tenths place. And then I need 7 rods to represent my hundredths place. So now that I've represented the problem, I fully have understand what equation I'm going to use, or what symbol I'm going to use as far as addition. So now the next step is to estimate. Now I want to estimate my problem. Before I start thinking about solving, I want to make sure that my answer is going to make sense, and that I estimate to make sure when I solve that it is a reasonable answer. So to estimate, I'm going to go ahead and estimate 6.25. I'm just going to estimate that to the nearest whole number, and I'm just going to estimate it to 6. I'm going to estimate 3 and 57/100ths, and I'm going to estimate that to, I'm going to go ahead and estimate it to 4. So I know 6 plus 4, because I'm still going to use the same addition symbol, is 10, so therefore my estimation is 10 meters long. My answer should be around 10 meters long. Now that I've estimated, I'm going to solve. Now, if I was going to think back to my equation in my strip diagram, then I would go ahead and I would write the equation. I know I'm solving for B to find what the new board equals. I'm going to write it vertically so that I can add up each place value, line up my decimals, and once I line up my decimals, I know all my place values are in the correct place value order, and then I would start adding. 7 plus 5, or 5 plus 7, is 12. So I write down the 2, carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Since I'm adding, I just bring down the decimal. And then 6 plus 3 is 9. So my new board is 9 and 82/100ths long. I'm going to go ahead and use my pictorial model to check myself. So I'm just going to come back up here. I'm not going to redraw my pictorial model, but I'm going to look at it and I'm just going to count. So if I start with my hundredths place, because I always want to start in the same direction in case I have to carry over, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 hundredths, which means I'm going to write down a 2. And I know I need to carry over that extra tenth, so I have an extra tenth up here. So I'm just going to add it with my pen. Now I'm going to count my tenths place. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 tenths. Add my decimal. Now I'm going to count my ones place, my units, my whole numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I've used two different strategies, and again I still got 9 and 82 hundredths meters for my new board. So now I've double checked my work. I got the same answer using two different representation models. And then I can also justify and explain my reasoning of my estimation being 10 meters long and my answer being 9 and 82 hundredths meters long, which is really close together, and therefore also my answer would make sense.